Hey, macro folks, this is Mr. Hooker. This is going to be a really short video for GDP and the CPI. Number four, we got like 3 slides. I didn't realize I was that close to the end, or I'd have kept going for a little bit. But I like to keep them at about 15 minutes. And I was a little bit over. We're here. Um, so last time we left off with this breakdown of the CPI in 2023. So here we are. Annual percentage increases in recent years been a lot smaller than those in the 70s and 80s. And this was pre 2023. So understand it's gotten a little bit much lately. 2023 to 2025 have been a little more than normal. So let's talk about that for a minute. Um, so we have a target. So Taylor rule says the target inflation rate is 2%. So that is the Fed's target inflation rate. 2%. We want some inflation. Uh, we're happy with anything 1 to 3%. 2% is where we want to be. 2.5 doesn't kill us. Um, Anything over 2.5, people cry. Uh, and we had annualized somewhere in the 4 to 6, where we were banging along somewhere between 4 and 6% there for a couple of years. Um, so basically double to triple what we want to be at. That doesn't feel good. So, y'all saw that people on social media talking about eggs there for a little bit. Um, and that comes down, you know, we didn't talk about it here. I wasn't doing videos at the moment, but in your demand and supply chapter, there was the whole thing about the rationing function of prices. People feel good when prices are consistent. So the whole idea is prices need to be consistent, and if prices are consistent and they go up, you know, 2%, 3%, 1%, we're okay. Nobody feels bad. But when prices start like jumping 10%, 15%, 20% overnight, or nearly double, price of eggs nearly double, people will lose their flippin' minds. And that's what you saw on social media all over the country. Um, that doesn't go well. There were a number of factors. It wasn't all, some of those were just straight up demand and supply factors. It wasn't all inflation. Um, there was an increase in demand because there was some fad diet that was going on at the time, which caused an increase in demand for eggs. There was also an avian flu that went on that decreased the supply of eggs. So we had a rightward shift of demand, a leftward shift of supply, and it just both of them just kind of increased the price. Some things happened, it went wild, and then we had inflation to go in with it. So we had natural demand and supply factors that increase price, plus inflation. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, things didn't look pretty. And so, that happened. And then, we as economists had to like talk to family members and friends about like what's going on with our world. That's reason number like 200 not to become an economist. The things you have to talk to your friends and family about when you don't really want to. All right. Other price measures. So the producer price index, similar to CPI, but it's what we call a leading index. So it measures changes in the price of goods purchased by producers. So it measures the factors of production. Or resources. So basically, think resources, not necessarily factors of production, but resource costs is what we're measuring there. So we call it a leading indicator because if that goes up by really um, think about that, if that goes up by about 0.6% or more in 6 months, you will feel it in the CPI. So it'll take 6 months, take 2 quarters for that to get to CPI. It's a downstream effect. Ride your raft down the Mississippi, whatever you got to do, and it will get to CPI. And that's how that works. Also use the GDP deflator, measures the price level while calculating the ratio of nominal to real GDP. Um, so that's 100 times the ratio of nominal GDP to real GDP in that year. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. Is it really used a lot? No, but it is a thing. Um, so it's a number. It's just not a well used number. It's not a highly. So if you compare them, it looks like this. Producer price index in the orange, CPI, and I guess that's a blue. And the GDP deflator, I guess the CPI is in like a green, and the GDP deflator in a blue. Um, so you can see kind of how they flow. So they're together somewhat. And that is it for us today. So we will see you on in the next chapter, chapter 8.